Catalina and Craig Smoak.
All right, we hope to have Hall of Fame coach Clyde Hart on with us, former Baylor track and field coach with us, and he's been attached, of course, to the Olympic Games many, many times, and some of the players or athletes, even like Sonia Richard-Ross, who chased that gold medal, finally was able to capture it, has trained with him and others. But Trayvon Bromell won the 100. He finished ahead of, he ran a 9.80. Ronnie Baker was next, and Fred Curley, I think Curley's an A&M guy. He's a specialist in the 400 meters, was third with a 9.86. Now, Bromell was on the team at the Rio Games, but tore his Achilles and was out. So this has been a long, slow, and probably at times frustrating surge back to where he is as he dominated the 100 meters. Trayvon Bromell. Will London, the third, makes the Olympic team as well for the United States, and we're now joined by longtime legendary and Hall of Fame track and field coach Clyde Hart. Coach, you just got back earlier today. Is that right, from Eugene?
Yeah, I got back about an hour ago, to be exact.
Well, we appreciate you jumping on. I know it's been a long trip back. You lose a couple of hours, and Lord knows the jet lag you're going to face. How proud are you of what Trayvon has done and what he's battled back since the last time he was a part of the Olympic team?
Well, it's remarkable. Having had a couple Achilles problems myself, I know the difficulty of coming back from those things. And I just can't imagine anyone being able to come back from them, much less run better than he did before. He had almost 3 years without running. That in itself is remarkable, whether you were hurt or not. So I had a good visit with him out there in Eugene. He looks good, really good. He's in shape. He's in a happy place right now. And I really think that he will be the favorite to win the gold medal. I would make him a favorite. He's running that well right now.
So when it comes to sprinters, with Usain Bolt, not dominating, not going to be there, does that open things up a lot for the U.S. again to kind of regain this?
Yeah, there's some world-class sprinters all over the globe. You just don't know who's going to pop up. But the United States has a way of always being able to be in contention. And right now, Trayvon is the number one guy. And I think, you can get a bad start and lose the 100 meters. You get a bad start in any other race, and that's not going to happen. So, you've got to have everything going for you. It's not anything guaranteed. Neither is a pole vault or some other events. I mean, a lot of technique events, one little mistake, it takes you out of it.
What is next for Trayvon now that he knows his spot? He knows he's off to the Olympics. What is kind of the routine now in preparation for that?
Well, he's got a little over a month before the games get going, and I didn't visit with him about that, but I would just speculate that he will probably try to get in a couple of more races, maybe even 3, to stay sharp. The USA will also, if they do it like the past, I don't know what the finances are going to allow them to do, but in the past they've been able to have a training site other than the Olympics themselves, that the Olympic team gets together and then they go from there on to the Olympic site. Now, with the COVID, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't have all the information at this time.
Yeah, and you've been around that regimen, routine, schedule dozens of times in your career with those who you've trained as well. So they run, he gets in, he wins the 100. So is it you back off, or do you then try to peak at the right time? And how much more difficult will that be now because of the schedule?
Well, I'm one that never believes of such thing as peaking. I think you reload.
Okay.
If you go with the theory of I don't want my kid to peak too early, then you're realistically holding him back because you don't know where that peak is. So, my theory is you run for, I used to, and I still do with Will London, I never want a kid to compete more than 3 weeks in a row without at least backing off and getting some work. It's just like the weight room. If you miss training in the weight room for a week or two, you're going to lose about 10% of your strength. Well, the same thing in running. If you run every week, and a lot of kids do, a lot of kids will go and try to chase the dollar, and they'll run once or twice a week and all over Europe, and they wonder why they're not there at the finish of the season when it really counts. I've been fortunate that most of my athletes, their best performance has come at the end of the year, because we've always believed in that theory that you can only run a certain period of time, then you got to back off, get back to training, and train for maybe 1 week really hard, and then taper off and go back and run some more. So you can do it both ways, but I think for best results, you've got to keep reloading the kids.
What do you say to guys like Will, finally in the Olympics, their lifetime goal, but about approaching it for the very first time?
Well, fortunately, Will, I think, I don't know exactly. I think Will's probably 24 right now, maybe 25. He's very young. Will's had the good fortune. He's made the last 2 world championships. You have a world championship before the Olympics and after the Olympics, and then there's an open year. So Will made 2017 and the 2019 world championship teams. And, it's every bit as hard to make those as it is the Olympics. So, but it's only the Olympics. I'm only track and field being contested instead of all the sports like the Olympics. So Will's got that experience behind him. So this was something he wanted very badly, because he was part of that group. He knows all those guys and gals that own the world championship teams, and he was fortunate to be on there at a very young age. Actually, he was barely 20 when he made the first one, and he was 23 when he made the second one, I believe. So this was just the next step, and we knew if Will could get to the finals, that everybody in the finals was going to be on the Olympic team, because you have 2 relays. You have the 4x4 relay, the one you always had, the 4x400 meters, but then they added 2 World Championships ago, what they call the mixed relay, where you have 2 males and 2 females running 400 meters each. And that was an experiment, but they liked it so well that they kept it in for the Olympic Games. And Will had the good fortune in 2019 of winning a gold medal in that event and with a world record. So I fully expect he'll be on that relay, but he could very easily be on both relays or run the first round, because they needed at least 8 people to get the job done on those 2 relays.
When do you remember first seeing Will London and thinking that he had Olympic caliber talent?
Well, to be honest, I never try to see, I'm not that smart to see world Olympic talent. I didn't see that in Michael till about his junior year. Then I knew he was very special. Jeremy Warner, I could see that Jeremy could do it if he could stay healthy, that he had the capabilities of making it. Will, he came up through the youth program in Waco. I remember seeing him, didn't really know who he was early on, and later everybody said, that's little Will, because he was always the smallest kid out there, and he was just beating everybody. And he just progressed on through summer track. And, I guess he was probably 7 or 8 years old when he started out, and worked on through, went all the summer meets and went to the nationals. And so he's paid his dues. And then he's one of the few kids to win 4 Big 12 championships. Never lost a Big 12 championship in the 400. So he's a competitor, and he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's got a big heart, and he believes he's going to win, and that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and see, I'm glad you clarified on him making the Olympic team, because not being track savvy in some ways, I am and I'm not, is that when I saw that he made the final but did not, I think he finished 8th, I was like, is that going to be an issue? And no, but you said that because he got to the finals, no matter what, he's on the Olympic team.
Well, that's only going to happen in the 400 and in the 100. wonder that they'll probably take 6 kids because they'll want 2 alternates for that relay because they have to run preliminary rounds, and usually they'll put 2 alternates on to save the people that are in the open. You're going to have 3 individuals, provided those individuals have met the Olympic standard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of those kids that finish third will not go to the Olympics unless he gets that Olympic, especially in some of our events like maybe the women's triple jump and some of the distance races that maybe the third place person has yet to hit the Olympic standard, but they have about 5 or 6 weeks to get that done. But in the 4x4 relay, because they've added that other relay, that opened up possibly 2 more spots. So we kind of figured they're going to take 6 for sure out of that final. They've always done that because they want the 2 alternates. And if the team wins the gold medal, they get a gold medal if they run the rounds, or if they get a bronze medal, whatever their team does. So they're considered just the same because they're taking the load off. But because of that new mixed relay, which is kind of a fun deal, I've always thought that would be interesting to have 2 guys and 2 gals racing because you have the strategy or how you're going to place them on there. You don't have to run them in any certain order. So it's pretty interesting how you do it. But Will happened to be on the relay that has run the fastest ever in that event. So it would surprise me that those coaches know that. Will is a tremendous relay runner, probably a better relay runner right now than he is an open runner. I don't know why that is. A lot of Texas high school kids are that way because they live and breathe running relays. A lot of states, they don't put that emphasis because in Texas you get double points for the relays. A lot of emphasis are put on them. So Texas kids grow up relay kids. But Will, they know Will can run an unbelievable leg on a relay. And he ran the opening leg and beat some of the world's best in the 2019 World Championships in London. It was amazing that what he did. I think they remember those type things. But you got to remember, in that race, so he finished 8th. 8/100ths of a second, not 8 seconds, 8/100ths of a second separated him from being in the top 3.
Coach, go ahead.
Yeah, and the problem was that Will had the 4th fastest time, yet when they drew up the lanes, he got the worst lane on the track because of a stupid rule by the international. In our meets in this country, we seed them. The 4 fastest get the middle 4 lanes, and then you spread them out. The worst are going to get lane 1 and lane 9. Well, or lane 8 in most cases. But for some reason, the international have it that the 4 winners will get the middle lanes, and the others will have to draw between the outside 2 and the inside 2. And because he finished 3rd, though he had the 4th time, he drew and got that outside lane. And see, that hurt him. I went back and looked at his race. The kid that was inside of him was lane 8. He was one of the winners. He was a kid that won the NCAAs with a 43.80. Unbelievable, 43.80. That's a full second faster than most of those people run. Will whipped him in the first 2 rounds, head up. But in the finals, he gets outside of him. Well, Will can't see anybody in the race because there's no one out there. And he's even with him coming off that curve in lane 9 and 8. There's chest wise. Well, Will starts racing him and ties up because he's not in there seeing all the other people that he could have picked off, probably 3 of those other people or 4 of them at least, if he had been in there with him. But he's racing the best guy with the fastest time, and it just tied him up. If he could have been in there in an inside lane and saw the action, he would have noted a little bit more what he needed to do. But out there, he ran blind until they came off that last curve, and it was just those 2 guys, and so it's a mono running, and that guy just was a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it cost Will, but like I say, you could throw he was 45 flat, and 4th place was like 44.92. Now that's you can't even snap your fingers out of that.
Coach, what are your thoughts on Sha'Carri Richardson? She's kind of set the track world on fire. A lot of people comparing her to fast, great female sprinters on Team USA. What do you think of her?
Well, she was outstanding when she ran at LSU. She only ran 1 year, then turned pro. She can run. Of course, there's a lot of them out there, but she's got a girl from Jamaica that's the defending world champion that is run awful fast this year. So she's got to work cut out.
Is Jamaica still the biggest threat, you'd say, top to bottom with Team USA's track and field?
Well, in the sprints, yes. Sprint hurdles, but that's not as far as it goes. Great Britain has gotten better, but I don't think as far as medals and track and fields that the USA will have any trouble getting the most medals. Now, I mean, I have no doubt that's going to happen.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate your time. Glad you are back. Enjoyed the moment with Trayvon Bromell and Will London. That's the legendary Hall of Fame.
Well, now let's don't forget, you got a kid Boston tonight that's very easy going to make that Olympic team too. Casey Lightfoot is going to be Boston tonight, and don't count him out.
No,
so we might have three Baylor kids.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, and he has been spectacular as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, David, appreciate you taking the time. Will, as far as I know, is the first Waco. Well, I know he is the first Waco athlete ever to make the Olympic team, and I think that needs to be recognized.
Well, we'll put that up right now. You just did it as well. Thanks for your. You know, I got to ask you this if you don't. I know we got a break, but you've seen so many of your former runners, those who ran for Baylor, and you have a lot of people around you that are a part of that program when you were there and also now. Has there been one that was more emotional to you than any other? Because it sounds like, I know how tight end you are. You're thrilled with Trayvon and Will. But was it even Sonia Richard-Ross when she finally was able to do what she had been dreaming of doing and overcame injuries as well? Is there one that was more emotional to you than anyone else who made the Olympic team or won a gold medal?
Yeah, well, actually, it seems like adversity goes with that. And you know, Jeremy, as a freshman, he didn't win the Big 12. And yet sophomores when he swept it all because he had some injuries. But he fought through it. Michael Johnson in 1988, I think he would have medaled. Mayer, definitely medaled, and Mayer got another gold, broke his leg at the NCAA meet. Sonia battled through a rare disease that put ulcers all over her body, had a spur in her big toe that I don't know how she cut out the end of her track shoe. She actually ran in racing flats in some races, not even spikes because it hurt her foot. These champions have a way that injuries sometimes spur them to do things beyond what the average person could do. So getting emotional, I would not do justice to any of them to pick one. But if I had to, it would be Michael Johnson because we carried on a mad for an awful long time. From 88 and then 92, he was a favorite to win, got food poisoning a week before he went over. So we had 8 years that we had to be awful mad, and it paid off in the Olympics in 1990 that he he overcame. So they all overcame. But I think Michael had a longer period of having to wait to do what the world needed to see him do. And when he finally could stay healthy, he had 10 years of unbelievable track and field and world records. I can't tell you how many he set. So Michael had to be the one. But honorable mentions to Jeremy and to Sonia because and Will's had some up and down. They all do. And the public just doesn't know that. But yeah.
Okay.
And let me do one shout out. Ken Wheathorn, who's been a volunteer with me since he retired coaching at Midway High, has helped me with Will. And without Ken's help, we couldn't have done what we did. So I need his help. And he's been with me since, since 2015 when he retired coaching at Midway. He's been a volunteer helping me with my 400 runners and does a great job. So, Ken, appreciate what he's done for me.
Clyde, thank you. Coach Hart, thank you very much. The Hall of Famer, the legend, Clyde Hart with us, track coach.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You too, on SicEm365.